Hello, everybody. Welcome to tonight's live. I'm just gonna shut my door. We don't need to hear my boyfriend watching TV. I am so excited to be here with you guys tonight. We are talking about common dieting mistakes. So I am so excited. We're gonna have Emily Kay on here with me as well. And we're just gonna give everybody a couple minutes to hop on and join us. Got my water. Looks like we made it through the thunderstorm we were getting. Yes, I have a Nourish with Emily water bottle. Emily in. Hello.
Hi,
How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I am good. I'm not 100% sure we're going to get many people on right now because it is kind of dinner time, and I get that. I was thinking maybe people could make dinner while they're listening to the live. But
Yeah.
I know we get a lot of replay watchers too, and tonight was a really popular topic as well. So I'm super excited about this.
Yes, I am too. I could talk about this for days, I feel like.
Yeah, right. And I,
So,
I
yeah.
feel like too, because we're in the thick of it and we work with people, and it's like, oh, like these are things that we see all the time that might seem like normal things for most people, but we catch on and it's like, this is a mistake that we're making from day one before you even might have started what you're doing.
Right. And I still feel like I can get caught up in these same feelings sometimes. Like they always kind of
Yeah.
linger back and you have to like be like, wait, no, it's not
Right.
right. So it's definitely it's like anything else with health and nutrition. You're constantly learning and constantly being, I guess, like on that edge of like which way to go. So
Oh, absolutely. And like I feel like you're constantly tested too of like, whoa,
yes.
like something might be working for me right now, but then all of a sudden it's like, oh, this new craze came out or whatever it is. It's like,
Mhm.
I don't need to fall for that. I don't need to go
Yep.
down that rabbit hole right now.
Exactly. Yes.
So
Definitely.
awesome. If anyone's hopping on with us live, please comment team live. If you're watching this replay, please comment team replay. We are going to get started to respect everybody's time. So we're talking tonight about common mistakes that people will make when they start a diet or change your nutrition. So I know Emily is one of our co-coaches here at Nurse with Emily, so I'm so happy that she could join us tonight. And Emily, I know that you have worked and hired somebody in the past with your health and your nutrition. What are some problems that you faced when you kind of started that journey, and then what brought you to this point?
So I will say that I debated for like years of my life of whether or not to hire someone, especially being somebody that studied food and nutrition. I already was
Mm-hmm.
like, I'm the expert. Like, why would I ever hire someone? Like,
Mm-hmm.
I know everything. Definitely I don't. So, and we all need that accountability. Like, that's the biggest thing that I think people don't always think about. Like, yes, you're
Mm-hmm.
getting a lot of information and a lot of education, but that accountability, anybody could use it. Anybody would do
Yeah.
well with it. So I finally bit the bullet and hired someone. And it was, I feel like, such an amazing experience. Like, I learned so much about food, so
Mm-hmm.
much more than I learned in my, well, I shouldn't say more, but in a different way than I learned my 4-year degree and my internship. Like, it was amazing. But in that process, I was still facing a lot of those challenges
Mm-hmm.
starting out. Like, I had all these huge expectations for myself that I wanted to go like 0 to 100.
Mm-hmm.
I remember I wanted to start out like working out. I was working out at none at all. And I was like, I want to do 6 days a week or 5 days a week. And we're like, well, like maybe let's not. Like, and I
Yeah,
wanted to
right.
do like like lifting sessions and cardio. Like, I was ready to like count macros right off the bat, like everything. And honestly, there are people that can do that. Like, I'm not trying to say that they can't,
Mm-hmm.
but it's it's not sustainable. So during my coaching, I remember I kept thinking too, like, man, am I gonna have to like count my calories forever? Am I gonna have to track
Mm-hmm.
my foods forever? um and then I just quit because I felt like I had reached a point where it was kind of causing me, I just wanted to kind of be on my own. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to like, I don't know, I felt like I had learned a lot and I wanted to challenge myself.
Yeah.
So since then, I will say that like counting the calories, it definitely changed my relationship with food in a negative way.
Mm-hmm.
I became very obsessive. like I said, that all or nothing mindset, like didn't ever go out with friends because I was like, oh
Mm-hmm.
my gosh, I don't know what's going on. Like it was bad. So anyways, since then, I developed like such a good relationship with food after taking a break from all that. But I'm still so thankful for that experience because I learned so much about those foods, what was in the things I was eating that I had no idea about before. Like you
Mm-hmm.
just become so more knowledgeable and so more mindful.
Yeah.
So, so much more, excuse me. So that was great. But yeah, I definitely faced all those challenges of like, my biggest thing was definitely that all or nothing mindset, which I think a
Mm-hmm.
lot of clients and individuals have. So kind of just tackling that and like, okay, instead of focusing on like, and it depends on the client, instead of focusing on 3 goals this week, let's just try and focus on like 2, like
Right.
3 walks, 30 minutes each. And let's focus on like increasing your veggie intake, your water intake, like
Right.
stuff that are really small. So I don't know. I think that was probably one of my biggest issues with dieting.
Absolutely. And I think too is you have to find like the right person and the right match as far as what you're looking for. Like we're not really macro coaches here. We can do macros for somebody. However, we're more so focused on behaviors and relationships as far as food wise, because that
Yes.
stuff you don't want to be tracking. Like you said, you hated tracking your food. It was very restrictive as far as like it brought you into some disordered eating patterns where
Yeah.
that might not work for everybody. And like I feel like when anyone starts something with nutrition, they're like, I gotta track my food and I've got to eat only 100 grams of carbs. Where it's like, let's pull back the reins here. There's so much more that we can
Yes.
do that might hurt us in the long run and stuff.
Like I have a lot of clients right now that we kind of focus on our hunger and fullness cues.
Mm-hmm.
And so many of them have said that that has been such a game changer.
Yeah.
So like any other time they would feel like, okay, I have a color, a protein, a carb, whatever. And I know that I have a balanced plate. I have to eat all of it. And I was
Mm-hmm.
like, it's amazing you have a balanced plate, but let's sit and eat slowly, focus on what you're eating, focusing on how you're feeling while you're
Yeah.
eating it, taking a break, like just being very mindful of everything. And I think that that has really changed a lot of their, I think it's improved their relationship with food already. And it's just been a few weeks. So
Absolutely. And that's even something that we can maybe dive in more on a future live
yeah.
too, of just like using those non-scale ways to kind of measure successes.
Mm-hmm.
So we can definitely do that for a future training as well too.
Yes.
So let's dive into some of the points on like where people are commonly making mistakes. So like you brought up the first really, really good one of like that all or nothing mindset that I have to do all of these things every day in order to be successful. I just got off a coaching call with somebody where she was saying, if I don't run 30 minutes, I feel like I wasted my time. And it's like, but you still ran. Like that 15
Right.
minutes is still something. It doesn't have to be everything, especially when we have such high expectations for ourselves of like, I need to do these 5 things in order to be successful. We get overwhelmed and we fall off really, really fast.
Yeah. And we compare our present self to our past self. Like, yeah, that's how I might have been before and I might have been successful,
Mm-hmm.
but like I still fell off. And like that's fine. But again, just acknowledging those victories, like even if they're small, they're still victories.
Absolutely. And that's a big thing too that we do with our clients is going with that lowest hanging fruit, like you said, rather than setting 3 goals a week, we're only going to set 2. And it's going to make, can you get out and go on a walk? And can you stop when you're full? Those are like what we call the lowest hanging fruit. What's the
Yeah.
smallest thing that we can change that's going to help us yield the biggest results without making it stressful on us or feel like we're overwhelmed, because we never want to overwhelm our clients at all.
No, not at all.
Absolutely. I think another one that I come across as well, just in like hanging out in other Facebook groups and everything, is unrealistic goals. That sets so many people up for failure and mistakes as far as like, I'm going to lose 10 pounds this week. It's like, okay, are we cutting off your right arm or your left arm at that point? Because like, that's the fastest way to lose 10 pounds.
I
And I guess to
know.
keep it off.
I know. And it just, those make me so sad because they're focusing on the number too. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and we focus on that with our clients that it's not the important thing. It's again, the non-scale victories.
Mm-hmm.
And we kind of link that in with the, just your goal weight or whatever.
Yeah.
Just focusing on like how you're feeling and are you able to do this? Are you able to walk for 2 miles and
Mm-hmm.
feel great rather than just one and kind of dying? So
Right.
yeah, I definitely think the unrealistic goals is huge because again, it's that all or nothing. We all just want to get
Mm-hmm.
to that desired goal, that
Mm-hmm.
desired outcome, but I don't think that we realize just how long it takes, especially if we want to keep it going for forever.
Yeah, and do it the right way too. It's the biggest piece
Exactly.
of it. And it's like it's great, like, after the fact, like, okay, I've been able to accomplish this. I had one client when we started working together, she could barely walk a mile. She'd have a lot of pain in her hips. And now she can do 3 or 4 miles at a time and she feels great. But if
That's
she
amazing.
said, like, I'm going to, like, the first week we started, I'm going to go out and walk 4 miles next week without pain, it's like, how can we really measure that? And like,
Right.
there's nothing that we can change within this week to make that happen.
Exactly. And like, you're just going to hurt yourself in the long run. So what, you're going to be able to walk that, but then what are you going to do next week? You're going to be hurting.
Mhm.
So
Exactly. You're going to be sitting
yeah.
all week long.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Another big issue too, and I know we've talked about this a lot, is expecting linear results. And I harp on this so often with clients as well too, that weight loss is not linear. It does not, every single week you will not be down that 1 pound. There is plenty of times where we're cycling up and down in weight loss. As long as we're trending down overall, that's going to be the easiest kind of way to measure success. It is okay if you hit plateaus. I have a client right now who's been at the same weight for about a month or so. We're checking her intake. We're making sure that she's getting enough to eat, because that was another piece of it too. And knowing that the weight loss will continue, but we have to check off these other things first.
Definitely. Yes. Yeah, that linear, man, because life happens. Like, that's what we're
Mm-hmm.
all about, is like figuring out how to tackle this successfully while living your life. So,
Mm-hmm.
sorry, I still have a bit of a sore throat.
You're good.
But yes, it's just not possible. And if it were, you probably have some type of disordered eating.
Yeah.
So I feel like sometimes the people that are like the most successful, and I'm not saying all, but like the most successful, the most adherent to their goals, there's some type of disordered
Mm-hmm.
eating, food relationship. There's something wrong for
Yeah.
the most part.
And
But yeah.
it goes into the next point too, of like, we don't have to sacrifice, you don't have to get rid of like the mini drumstick ice creams that you like, or you don't
No.
have to get rid of the chips or anything like that. You can still have pizza. You can still use ranch dressing to dip your pizza in. It's
Mm-hmm.
more so of like, can we be mindful of how much we're having in the portion size of it, rather than let's just drink an entire bottle of
Right.
ranch right now.
And like what, yeah. And what can we add to that ranch with pizza to help keep us fuller and to help reach our goals,
Yeah,
rather than taking something away?
exactly. Yep. What do you think, or what's like another mistake that you kind of run into?
Sorry, I wrote them all out.
Yeah, you're good.
Okay, so eating as little as possible. Um, Again, just going off of everything you hear from social media and comparing whatever your best friend is doing or says that they're doing, thinking that like, oh, well, if this is what I can do, or if this is what they're telling me to do, like this 1,200 calories, like it must be okay. Or like getting it. Another one is like getting your information from not exactly the right source, which
Mm-hmm.
these are typically pretty linked.
Yeah.
It's just, why wouldn't you want to eat as much as you can and still
Right.
achieve results?
And
It's just some,
I totally understand too, because there's a double-edged sword of people get scared of, like, I tell people when we are on our get to know you calls, 9 times out of 10, we're going to tell you have to eat more.
oh yeah.
And it freaks people out. And it's
Yeah.
so normal too, because it's the exact opposite of what you think you should be doing
I
in
mean, we've
order to
been
make this
told,
process work.
yeah, we've been told opposite our entire lives. Like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I remember growing up, just like different things that I was told by family members, and oh well, if you weren't like, don't eat after 7, or like
Mm-hmm.
stop this, or like you can't have that anymore once you're this age. And I'm just
Right.
like there's so much that's instilled in you at such a young age.
Mm-hmm.
It's wild. So yeah, definitely just thinking that you have to eat as little as possible, or again, like you mentioned earlier, like you can't have those foods that you want. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
maybe you were eating a big drumstick, like you mentioned. Maybe we're going to switch to the minis, because you're
Right.
still going to get satisfied, but half
Mm-hmm.
the calories.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I think another thing too, we have to remember, is what you do to lose the weight will have to be what you do to keep it off. So
Right.
if someone, like, that's why you hear people all the time who've done keto, where it's like, I'm on keto again, so you're telling me it didn't
I
work the
know.
first time. We forget that a lot of it, there's metabolic changes that happen when you're losing weight and you're doing these things. But if you have to do something so restricted to get it off, it's not going to stick that way. You have to
No.
kind of like put that thought process of like, when I reach my goal, rather than if I reach my goal. When I reach my goal, do I really want to only be eating 1,200 calories a day? Because the answer is no.
Right. And like, do I want to only eat fat and protein?
Right,
No.
right,
Like, I
right,
want my
exactly.
carbs. Yeah,
What do you
it's
mean I
just
can't have my
like,
birthday cake? Like,
I know. it's wild because it's been proven, like, and I get why people don't realize it, because it does, like, to do it in a healthy way where you can have all foods. It might take a little longer, but whenever you do have the accountability of a coach and then guidance of
Mm-hmm.
a knowledgeable, like, professional, it changes the entire game. It
Yeah.
does. Because, like, you're not just searching on the web or searching in magazines for, like, oh, well, this person said this and this person, that's not correlating. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I agree.
Yeah. It's figuring out what's going to work best for you, which usually what happens is like working with someone like us, working with trained
Mm-hmm.
professionals who have years of counseling experience, who know kind of that road to take you down on, but making sure that it's personalized to you and your goals and getting you there in a timely manner so that you're
100%.
not stressed out and you don't end up losing your hair or having other deficiencies and issues as well too. So it's
Definitely.
saying like, how can I get more people on my team to help support me and be a good support system rather than trying to go this alone and knowing that I'm going to fall off the wagon a little bit.
Right. Like, didn't you just hire a personal trainer, I saw?
I did.
Like, that was amazing, because, like, who wouldn't want help if you can get it,
Right.
Like,
And
even,
it's
and you're certified, so you could have
exactly.
done it yourself. So yeah, it's,
I know how to work out. I have my own personal training certification, but like
you
I
want
was
someone to
winging it
figure
in
out
the
your,
gym. Exactly.
exactly.
I
Yes.
want somebody to say, "We're going to kick your butt today." Shout out to Alec.
Yes. Yes, definitely.
So it's being able to say like, I know that I may not be good at this, but I can ask for help from someone who is good at this and who's been in my shoes and who knows what's going on to help
Right.
me get there so much faster. It's not a handout, it's a hand up.
It is. Yeah. And
You
it
just
is
don't have to do the
important
work.
to, yeah. It's really nice too to have someone that's kind of been there too. We know, like, we kind of know why you're feeling this way and why you did what you did. Like, it's just having someone that you can relate to and
Hmm.
having that support system. Support system is huge. It's another thing that we wanted to point out. It's everything,
Hmm.
and you're not always going to have one. Like, you're not always going to think that the people that are supposed to support you will, but you
Hmm.
learn along the way, especially with a coach, how to tackle that.
Yeah. And a lot of times too, especially in like a relationship, if you're living with your significant other or even your family, there just has to be someone that goes first. Because if you
Yeah.
say, okay, everybody,
Yes.
we're going to do this and we're going to get healthy, and then one person slacks and the other one's like, well, if they're slacking, then I can slack.
Hmm.
It's not working for me. Sometimes we have to be that first mover to be like, hey, I'm going to be the role model here. And I'm going to say, like, this is what we're making for dinner. We're not going out and getting Burger King anymore. We're not going to Taco Bell. We're going to take care of ourselves. We're going to go out on walks. And it takes time sometimes for that partner or that other person to kind of get on board with it, but they see that if you're feeling better and you're doing better, they are all for your
Right.
success.
It's so contagious. Yeah. I have a couple clients that their husbands are doing it with them. So
Hmm.
it's really cool to see.
It is, and it's empowering. It's like, okay, not only are we changing one person's lives, we're now at least changing two, if not more, if they
Hmm.
have kids as well too.
Yes, definitely. Yep. And the kids get involved too. Like, my one
Hmm.
client, her kid goes on a walk with her to get her steps in. And
It's
it's
perfect.
awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, it really is. So I think the biggest points of like what we're trying to say here and like the takeaways is like we have to figure out what's going to work best for you. We can't try to do all of the things that we need to change at once because we don't really need to get overwhelmed and stressed out. Making sure that our expectations are realistic and manageable too, and asking for help because that's going to be a huge piece to make sure that you can get there sustainably and consistently without having burnout, without feeling stress. If that means working with us, we would love to have you. We have open spots in our program. You can work with us starting this month. You don't have to wait any longer. You don't have to put it off. Let's start now before kids go back to school, before you push it off to
Yes.
January, where it's like you're already going to be, that's 5 months from now. You're going to be worse off then than if we just started now.
Exactly. Yeah. And we're here through the whole thing. I'm
Hmm.
always like, please reach out to me during the week.
Right.
Like, yes, I'm always bugging my clients, checking in. So,
Right. We're there to
um,
be like, we're here, we're your cheerleaders. And even too,
100%.
our group of clients support each other as well through the Slack channel,
Yeah,
which is so nice.
it is. It's really cool sharing recipes and tips.
Yeah.
It's a great community.
Absolutely. So what I'm going to do is I'll drop the application down below. We can set up a time to talk if anyone's interested in this week. It's just a get to know you call. We want to talk more about your goals and getting you there. And then you'll be placed with a coach, whether it's Emily or Sarah. It'll be so much fun though, and we love our clients, and they're just doing so well, and it makes us so happy. Kim says, in
Kimberly,
6 months, your life can change completely. Less than that. Kim is a testament to it. Kim
100%.
is one of our clients right now, and she's killing it. So sometimes you just have to say, I'm going to be uncomfortable for this little bit of time, knowing that I'm going to be so much more comfortable and never have to deal with this crap ever again.
Yes, exactly. And I feel like just in a couple weeks, if not even, I don't even know. I feel like my clients have just been, they seem just so more relieved, you
Hmm.
know, like
Yeah.
it's great to see. It's so
it makes
rewarding.
it it makes it easier. And I was talking to a woman the other night, and she's like, okay, like this is an investment, and it absolutely is,
It
and it's an
is.
investment in your health and in yourself. But at the end of the day, I was like, how many times a week are you going out to eat? She's like, probably 4 or 5. Okay, you're probably spending more money on going out to eat when we could be having you eat fresh and healthy foods at home. We're putting money back into your pocket that way as well too.
Right. And that's another big thing, the money that people are so worried about. But if they just took a step back and they do look at it as an investment, like these are tips and tools that you will have for the rest of your life. Like we are here
Hmm.
to fix you up for success and to graduate from this program
Yeah.
with everything, with all the knowledge you need. So,
Absolutely.
yes.
It's definitely, we love our clients. I actually got a message too from Sarah's client today. She had her first call with her on Monday, and she said there was one thing that we did. We added something at breakfast time, and she's like, I already feel so
Yeah.
much more energy and I feel so much better. And it's like, bingo. I know one of your clients had lost weight before you even stepped on your first call.
Yeah. Yes, literally.
She's like, we're
Yeah.
ready.
Yep. Yeah, that's amazing.
Guys so much for joining us. We will leave the replay here in the group. I will drop the link down to the application below so we can talk together and fix you up with a coach. Thanks so much for joining me, Emily.
Of course.
And
Thanks for having me.
our next live will be next Monday with Coach Sarah, and we're talking about snacks. So we'll go every other week with the different coaches and kind of just get everyone out there. And thanks so much for joining us, guys.
Bye. Have a good night.